Howdy guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel where we're talking about investing, buying, and selling real estate. So today I wanted to talk about the concept of wholesaling because it's not very popular in our area and it creates a lot of confusion. So on the 30,000 foot level, wholesaling real estate would be either buying or tying up real estate at one price and then turning around and selling it at a higher price without doing work to it, not like a flip or a rehab. You're just wholesaling it to the next person. In practice, this is usually done by investors who find a good deal with good equity. A lot of times it's a property that needs work and maybe they don't have the time to do all the work. So what they would do is they'd secure this property, and if they don't have the time or the money, they take it to usually another investor and they'd sell it to them. And if they're actually buying and closing on the property, they might be selling it at a little bit of a markup, but more often than not, wholesalers don't actually close on the property. And if they do, they're selling it at the same time. So there's two different ways to do wholesale that are popular ways, and I'm going to go over those just so you see what the difference is. So like I said, most people who are wholesaling don't actually close on the property. The way that they do it is either an assignment, so they'll put the property under contract and then they'll actually sell their contract to another investor who will then close on the property. Or you can do a double closing, which means you put it under contract and then you put it under contract to sell as well, even though you don't own it yet. So that's not necessarily legal in all states, but it does work if you close on it to purchase it and then at the same time you close on it to sell. If you have it under contract for 200 and then you sell it 210 or 220, you've made the difference there by finding and negotiating that great deal. Or if you have it under contract for 200,000, you can just assign it and somebody can give you the $10,000 or $20,000 directly to your pocket, and then they have to come up with the $200,000 to close. So this is really popular in big cities down in the States. It's a lot less common in more rural areas, and though it does happen pretty much everywhere in the country, it's not as common here as like Phoenix is a big place for wholesalers. So I wanted to distinguish between being an agent and being a wholesaler. So as an agent, you can also not own the property and still make a profit by getting a commission for selling it. In that case, more often than not, you're actually going to be representing the seller and helping them negotiate and get them the most money. The reason a seller wouldn't want to do that under all circumstances is if they need to sell it quicker, or if they don't want to go through the inspections and the appraisal and they just want to work with an investor. It could be a lot easier of a transaction for them. It'll usually end up netting them less money, but there's a lot of times when the less hassle and the less time frame is actually what they want. So it's nice when you are a realtor and you are there with the seller, you might be able to help them out and actually purchase it or wholesale it, or you can represent them. There's different pros and cons of both, but they're definitely different. When you're wholesaling, you're not representing them. You don't have to be licensed in most states to do wholesaling, because you're actually you're securing a contract that has value and you're selling that contract in the case of an assignment. So a lot of people don't really understand where you're bringing the value there. You're bringing the value by making it an easier deal. Let's think of businesses outside of real estate, or at least outside of this specific area. If you have a company that doesn't have a lot of inventory or valuable goods, that company can still be extremely valuable because of the contracts that they have. So like a property management business might not own any property or have very few real assets, but it might still be worth millions of dollars because of the huge amount of contracts that they have with the owners that produce this income. Oil companies work the same way. If an oil company may have valuable equipment, but a lot of times it's the contracts, the leases that they have on the oil producing land, that, you know, those contracts that are actually valuable if the oil company goes to sell. That's the concept we're using with an assignment. Is you're negotiating a good deal, you've got this contract, you got the house under contract, and then you can take that and sell it to another investor. So you're bringing value to the investor because you've done all the footwork, you found the property, you negotiated it, and if you're doing it right, you're still bringing value to the seller because they don't have to list it the traditional way and have a million people traipsing through their house, and you can get the deal closed a lot sooner for them for the type of property that's gonna be sold by an investor. So in a nutshell, when you're wholesaling, you're not necessarily owning the property, and when you are, you're not owning it for very long. And so you can do this with very little capital, but you actually do have to have quite a bit of market knowledge to do this. You really have to know what the value of the property is going to be when it's done. So if you have any other questions about this, love to talk to you guys about it. You guys can reach out. Again, if you know of any investment deals out there or know anybody that needs to buy or sell, we'd love to hear from you. So please subscribe to our channel, like the video, leave us a comment. If you leave us a good question, we'll get back to you. We might even make a video about it. Really appreciate it. Thank you.